So this is the most exciting part of the conference. Unfortunately, David Foster, our great executive director and visionary and our great leader of BGA, could not be here with us today due to a passing in his family. But this is always our favorite part, and you may be wondering what's blinding you up here with the very bright crystal diamond look. But it's our award presentation time, and we have two very distinguished leaders. So the voices of working people and environmentalists are sometimes drowned out by the special interests in Washington, D.C. But some of the people in Congress are listening to us and working to build a more efficient America where we can create and keep good jobs while also protecting the environment and the rights of working people. Today, we're here to honor two such people, Senator Debbie Stabenow and Congressman John Dingell. For the past 3 years, the Blue-Green Alliance has given out the Green Jobs Champion Award to recognize the contributions of people to creating good green jobs here in America. Previous winners include Energy Secretary Dr. Stephen Chu, Congressman Henry Waxman and Ed Markey in 2010 for their great climate change legislation, Majority Leader Harry Reid, U.S. House Minority Leader, then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. And each of these winners was lauded for their work to make America greener and create good jobs. So today, on behalf of the Blue-Green Alliance and our partners, and together with President King, I'm honored to present these Green Job Champion Awards to Senator Debbie Stabenow and the Dean of the U.S. House of Representatives, John Dingell. So Bob is now going to have the honor of introducing and presenting with me the award to our distinguished honorees.
Well, this is a fun part of the agenda, and it's an honor for me to be asked to introduce two of my great friends and two friends to everybody in this room. First of all, Senator Debbie Stabenow is really, as we all know, a true friend and a fighter for everybody in Michigan. She was elected to the United States Senate in 2000, and she is respected for her ability to build coalitions to get things done for people in Michigan and in our nation. As chair of the Senate Agricultural Committee and a member of the Senate Energy, Finance, and Budget Committees, she has a powerful and unique role in shaping our nation's manufacturing, healthcare, and agricultural policies, which are so critical to all of our futures. Among her many accomplishments, she has cut taxes for small businesses and passed initiatives to revitalize our manufacturing sector. She has also authored the retooling loan program for advanced manufacturers that is bringing jobs back to Michigan from Mexico. She serves as co-chair of the bipartisan Senate Manufacturing Caucus and was appointed to the President's Export Council by both President Bush and President Obama, where she helps Michigan companies export their products overseas. Her voice in the Senate is pivotal to creating good, green jobs in Michigan and throughout the country. You know, on a personal level, I know when our industry was under attack, and we talked about the courage of President Obama, but one of the great spokespersons for saving manufacturing and saving the auto industry was our great friend. Please join me in congratulating the 2012 Green Jobs Champion, Senator Debbie Stabenow.
To all of you that are here, you are in the place that's happening, Detroit, Michigan. This is the place where things are happening. So, and Joe and Junior, we're so glad that you're up here as well. And to all the leadership, I'm so proud of Bob King's leadership, and I know that you heard as well from President Leo Gerard, my other great friend, and so many friends in the labor movement who are leading the way for the future, truly. I'm not just saying that, I mean really in terms of vision, to have a middle class in this country, to be able to make things in America, to be able to move the country forward, as our Deputy Secretary, Dan Panemon said, to be able to have a vision and really win the global competition on clean energy. That's really where our future lies. And I am so very glad that this coalition has come together and has been so effective in working with us through the last number of years. And I know Mark Schauer is here, who heads the Jobs Initiative, and he and I were together when we rolled out the Blue-Green Alliance's Green Manufacturing Action Plan, which is a very exciting blueprint for how we get there, and I see Congressman Hanson Clark here, and we thank you for your leadership also. And I'm certainly always proud to be here with our Dean of the delegation, Congressman John Dingell. Let me just say a couple of words about what all of this means to me and why I'm so laser focused in partnering with you on the future as it relates to jobs, good paying jobs, not just any old job, good paying jobs you can raise your family on, have a future on. But you know, when we look at all of these efforts and the strategy that we've put together, you know, I see all of this around clean energy as it relates to jobs. I tell people all the time, when folks talk about wind energy, you know, they talk about how to use wind. When I look at a big wind turbine, I see 8,000 parts, and we can make every one of those in Michigan, by the way. That's jobs. Jobs. So it is important, and you know, we're also going to be the place this fall of a very important ballot initiative, 25 by 25, and we've got to make sure, as well as collective bargaining, which, by the way, go together if we're going to have those good-paying jobs for the future, and we got to make sure both of those are connected. But and I have to brag about Michigan. I'm sorry. If you're not here from Michigan, you ought to be in Michigan. You know, we ought to. But because of all of the work that's being done, our federal policy and state and what our former governor, who was so focused on clean energy, as well as the efforts in the Department of Energy and so on, I'm very, very proud of the fact that you are sitting at a place that's within about 15 miles of the #1 numbers of new clean energy patents in the country. The ideas are coming from right here where you're sitting. You drive 15 miles any direction. I mean, the new ideas are coming from here. And because of that, the U.S. Patent Office has decided for the first time ever to set up a satellite office to give out patents, and they're doing it in Detroit. And I'm so excited about that. So let me just close by again thanking you, but also saying that this is a strategy. It's not one piece of policy, as you know. It is, as the President said, about our ability to out-educate, out-innovate, and out-build in a global economy. We know we're in a global economy, but we want to export our products, not our jobs. So the strategy, and I know all of you really, really understand this. This is why I'm so very glad to be a part of partnering with you. We have to focus on education. We have to focus on retraining. There are wonderful efforts happening through community college, through our labor organizations, our unions, all kinds of training that's going on that's absolutely critical in terms of education. We've got to out-innovate. That's why we put money into advanced battery innovation. It's not an accident that in 2009 we were producing just 2% of the world's advanced batteries, and that 2 years from now we're going to have the capacity to be making 40% of the world's advanced batteries in America. That's not an accident. It's because we passed something called the Recovery Act, and we put $2 billion in it. And I was very proud to, Congressman Dingell and I and our colleagues in Michigan championed that, to be able to unleash private sector dollars to be able to bring in advanced battery technologies. And I'm proud to have authored the retooling loan that's helped us work with our industry. Ford down the road at Wayne has used the largest retooling loan, that with the advanced battery money, and they're literally bringing jobs back from Mexico, and I love to say that. We're bringing jobs back from Mexico. So whether it's tax policy like the advanced manufacturing tax credit that I authored in the which is called 48C in the Recovery Act, whether it's the production tax credit, all the other policies that we need, whether it's retooling loans, innovation, whether it's in agriculture where we're focused on biofuels and biomanufacturing. And by the way, I need to tell you that there's a wonderful partnership going on now, if you're not aware, replacing chemicals and petroleum them with agricultural products like soy oil instead of petroleum oil, or corn or wheat byproducts. And if you are sitting on a number of different vehicles now, if you own a Ford vehicle, if you own a great new Chevy Volt, you're actually sitting on soybeans in the seats. It's soy oil instead of, right guys, instead of petroleum oil. It's biodegradable, it's lightweight. And I see my friend Carl Pope out here. Carl, if you get hungry, you can also munch on something in the car. So, you know, we are seeing a vision of new clean energy that brings agriculture and manufacturing together. I just reported out a new 5-year farm policy called the Farm Bill. We are focusing on bio-based manufacturing, and for the first time in a real strategy as we go forward. So it's about a vision. It's about a commitment. It is about leadership. It's about people on the ground that come together and build coalitions between business and labor, and businesses, management, education, people, advocacy groups all across the way. And let me finally just say, I've just introduced a bill that is part of this as well, and I'd love to have you help us push it through. It's called the Bring Jobs Home Act, because when we look at the whole thing, on tax policy, one of the things that is shocking to me is that if a company closes up here and ships overseas, we allow them to write off their moving expenses and everything it took to pack up shop, which makes no sense. Makes no sense. So the Bring Jobs Home Act will stop that. Instead, it says if you want to bring them back, we'll give you the write-off, and we'll add another 20% to it. But if you want to ship them overseas, we're not paying for it. So. I'm proud to say the President just rolled out a five-point agenda last week, and that was at the top of the list. So we got to get this one done. Again, I'm grateful. I appreciate the recognition. All of you are working so hard. Thomas Jefferson said, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work." You know, we got a great opportunity. It's going to take a lot of work. Count me in as your partner. Thank you so much.
Introduce our next awardee. He's a great friend of all working people, not just in Michigan, but really across the country. He's been a fighter for all of us. He's the Dean of the U.S. House of Representatives, is the longest-serving member in the history of the U.S. Congress. He spent his whole career standing up for working families in America, and is currently serving in his 29th full term in the U.S. House of Representatives, fighting for and representing the constituents of Southeast Michigan. Congressman Dingell has always fought for American jobs and for balance in protecting Americans' economic competitiveness. He has fought for American education, manufacturing innovation, technology, and the American auto industry. Congressman Dingell has been the strongest advocate in Congress for health care reform since 1955. He has introduced the Universal Health Insurance Act in every single Congress he has served in. Yeah, that deserves a major applause. He presided over the House when Medicare was passed in 1965. He led the effort for the Children's Health Insurance Program in the 1990s, and he was lead author of the Affordable Health Care Act in 2010. As chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee for 16 years, the ranking member for 12 years, and now as chairman emeritus, Congressman Dingell earned the nickname of America's Watchdog for his legislative and oversight leadership on a wide range of issues, from improving the health of the quality of our blood supply, expanding pharmaceutical safety oversight, improving consumer product safety, streamlining defense procurement, developing pipeline safety, and scores of other issues. On top of all that, he is an avid conservationalist and outdoorsman. Congressman Dingell co-authored the National Environmental Protection Act, the Federal Water Pollution Control Act, the Clean Water Act, and led the fight for full funding of these statutes to clean up our nation's waters, especially the Great Lakes. He wrote the Water Quality Act, the Endangered Species Act, the 1990 Clean Air Act, the Safe Drinking Water Act, and authored legislation to build North America's first international wildlife refuge, among many other things. He's a great friend. He's a champion of all working people. Let's give a great welcome and join me in congratulating the 2012 Green Jobs Champion, our great friend, Congressman John Dingell.
And good morning. And thank you all for the honors which you give me this morning. I'm deeply grateful. I want to begin by introducing the lovely Deborah, my wife and closest friend. She's that pretty blonde over here. And you, my beloved friend Bob, for your kind introduction. Thank you. Friend of long standing, great leader in labor, wonderful community activist, and just a grand human being. Thank you, my friend. And you, my friend Joe, I thank you. I still remember what 22 did for me way, way back. And Junior, my friend, it's such a pleasure to see you. Thank you. It was nice to hear Secretary Poneman and our Senator Debbie Stabenow, who does so much for this state. And also I see down in the audience our friend Hanson Clark, a fine young member, one who is growing and one who is providing great leadership in the Congress. Good morning, Hanson. I'm proud of the award. I'm very proud of those who have given it. And I'm very proud indeed of your dedication to environmental causes and to making this a better world. You know, there's a funny thing about this earth of ours. Everybody thinks that we inherit it from those who went before. In point of fact, that is not so. We borrow it from those who come after. And it is our duty to return it to them in as good or better shape than we received it. And that's one of the reasons I'm particularly honored at your award today, because we need to know that in the future we must all unite, government, industry, labor, environmental organizations, ordinary citizens, and everybody else. Because we cannot look at others who are traveling this path with us and say, pardon me, but your end of the boat is sinking. That's why your labors here are so important, because you recognize that we must work together to see to it that our joint interests are carried forward. There is no such thing as a job that is not to one degree or another green. We are all having to recognize that every job is and must be green, and indeed it must be more green. And I'm pleased and proud that you would recognize that we have to see to it that all of us, industry, labor, management, and ordinary citizens and conservationists all pull together, because without it, there will not be success. Last year, President Obama, as all of us recall, in his State of the Union message, said we must all outbuild, out-educate, and out-innovate to stay ahead of our global competitors in some of the most savage competition that we have seen in the world economic front. And so, as we do this, we have to recognize that we must all pull together, and that each of us has to understand that the only hope of success for us is by working together. One of the great sorrows I think we all share is that Washington and our seats of government around the nation are not pulling together and are not united. We've only passed something like 120 bills this year. 3 of them, I'm pleased to say, are mine. I'm even more pleased to say that they're not just post office namings. But I'm more pleased to say that in each and every instance, it was a lot of us, everybody, business, industry, commerce, labor, environmentalists, ordinary citizens, consumers who pulled together. One was a drug safety bill, which will be on the floor in the end of September, or rather in the end of May. One was a food safety bill, which the President has just signed. And one is a pipeline safety bill, which is going to see to it that our pipelines are contributing to good environmental management and not leaks, explosions, and damages. We're finally beginning to realize that the negative consequences of toxic environment is not good for us. And we're finally understanding that a less educated, less trained workforce and more outsourced jobs are not in the interest of this country. We are understanding that we have the capacity to stay afloat, to succeed, and to move forward in the world competition, but only if we understand we have to work together and that every job is or should be a green job, not just the building of windmills or solar panels, but every job, because we can make this world, our country, and our efforts cleaner, stronger, better, more wholesome, and things which enrich this country and see to it that we go on making this a country where things can be better for our kids than they have been for us and for our forebears. My friends in labor have always been great leaders in things like social justice, in seeing to it that we have competitive economy, and to see to it that we embrace technology and innovation in each century so that our people live better lives and we are able to keep America as a great beacon of hope and light in a difficult world. The Blue-Green Alliance is doing its share to keep this public awareness going and to see to it that Americans understand that much more can be, should be, and must be done. I am proud of what we have done. If you will look back at the beginning of this Congress and the last one, that we recognized we had to save the auto industry, and that we did so. Labor-led, ordinary citizens participated, and industry participated, and government participated. And the result is that Junior's plant and Joe's, we're seeing that 2 and 3 shifts are there. That's making this a better place. And there's lots to be done. High-speed internet, smart, efficient, green electric grids, constructing green public buildings, our schools, and improving our nation's water infrastructure, rebuilding our roads, and doing the things that are necessary to see to it that we clean up our waters. These are simple, easy, understandable things. And it is sometimes difficult to understand why there are those who don't believe that expending monies, public monies, on these things are not just an expenditure, but in fact are an investment in ourselves and in our future and in the greatness of America. I am deeply honored at the award, and I am particularly grateful to all of you for having given it to me. I am reminded of a great statement by one of my real heroes, Winston Churchill, who was called to the carpet by a group of ladies who came in to visit him. And they were going to complain about the amount of brandy, whiskey, and champagne that he had drunk. And it is perhaps a message to all of us. It tells us that the challenges before us are serious. They said to him, Mr. Churchill, we think, and he was busy fighting a war, if you'll remember at that time, we think it is perfectly awful that you have drunk enough whiskey and brandy to fill this room to this point. Winston Churchill looked back at them and he said, after he thought a minute or two, so much to do, so little time. My dear friends, that is what we confront. So much to do, so little time. We have to pull together. The divisiveness and divisions that exist amongst us must be brought to a halt. Public servants and ordinary citizens must understand that public service is a noble calling. Much can be done, much needs to be done, and much must be done in limited time if we are to remain the great and wonderful country that we all love. Thank you, and God bless you.